Hey there, it's James with Carp's Bees, and I've been wanting to do this for some time. If you remember, quite a while ago, several months, we set up an experimental hive. We call it the Mega Hive, and the reason is it's basically two deep boxes on top of each other, but there's a unified deep frame that runs through both of those. So what we did is we set up the hive with these custom frames. I call them mega frames. They're super deeps. I'll show you a picture of those in a second. And then we seeded the hive with some brood frames, regular old deep frames from a few of my other hives just to get the thing going. So I haven't had a chance to get into that hive to do kind of a detailed inspection and see what kind of progress the bees are actually making in there. Here we are in early to mid-September, and one of the big tests for this hive is, will they survive winter? So I figured it'd be a good time to get into that hive, do a detailed inspection, get some video of it, and show you the results of that so far. And then we'll see what happens after winter, if they make it through or not. So just an idea that I had a while ago. Wanted to do something creative. Wanted to build something I think the bees would like, you know, kind of mimicking what I've seen that they do out in nature and based on some research and books and stuff I've been reading. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So come with me on this journey, and we'll see how the Mega Hive is doing. So I built a bunch of these double deep frames, and you know, I did some research online, and I guess there used to be something called a jumbo frame, and it wasn't quite this big, but it was, you know, deeper than your standard you know, deep frame today. So but all this is basically two deep frames with the top bar of the bottom one and the bottom bar of the top one cut away, and then two foundations inserted in here. So this is what I put into the Mega Hive, and then as I mentioned, we seeded the Mega Hive with some regular deep frames in the middle of the brood box to see how the bees would react if they would actually build out these frames, create really deep comb or like this. What would they do with those frames that were, you know, didn't have the bottoms on and extended to the bottom of the hive? So we'll get in there today and we'll see what they're doing with it all. All right, so this is Mega Hive, and we'll open it up. I'll just leave the camera there, and the top box is an interfeeder. This is the honey super, in case they want to produce honey, and then the bottom two boxes, the two deeps, are actually connected together, and that's what has these mega frames that I, you know, custom built here. So we'll see how they're doing on these mega frames. What's happening on the landing board? We call this hive, but the queen's name is Medusa, so we put a little symbol on the front just to represent Medusa. But you see right now there's some fighting going on in this hive, so I'm not sure what's happening right now. I'm going to be curious to get in here and see what's going on. So let's check it out. I'm going to try to do this without smoke. I haven't been using a lot of smoke lately. We'll see how that goes. I've been keeping the bees out of this top one. They are feeding. Not much feed left. Oh wow. So good signs on the inner cover. Lots of bees here. And it is queen excluded, so I don't expect to see a queen up here. We are about noon right now, so most of the foragers are out and about. So far they're not attacking me. Haven't been pinged in the head yet, but I'm sure that's soon to come. So we'll set this down here. And then I'm just going to take a peek inside and see what's happening with the supers. I literally just put this on last time I did a quick inspection, so I don't expect anything in here. So I'm just going to pick one at random, and we'll just see. Yeah, So nothing's going on in here, which is to be expected. So we'll just pull this whole top one off. Again, lots of good activity down here on the excluder. Make sure you can see this. So if the bees are going to get angry, this is where they'll do it usually, when you go ahead and pull the excluder off. So, but I just put it on, and there's, let's see, bees are being pretty calm. Make sure no queens on the bottom here. So far so good. Now, one of the limitations of the Mega Hive is your inability to, manipulate these two boxes. You have to treat everything as a whole. And since these frames are so deep, that can make it a little tricky. But for my purposes, my thinking is that we'll create a really strong, two deep core hive, brood hive. And the bees can really work this. Won't mess with it too much. We'll just do regular inspections. We're not pulling honey or anything out. But if they can build a really good solid hive down here, then that provides an exceptional foundation to be able to do, to fill up honey supers and things like that. And just, good survival rate for the bees. So that's the thinking anyway. Don't know what will happen in theory here. So what we're going to do is we'll start with taking a peek at some outside frames. Let me show you one thing real quick. So as we get in here and look at this, you'll notice I do have a 9-frame setup, and there are dividers in here. There's a divider on each side to keep the spacing nice and even. I felt that was really important, because if these are extra deep, you don't need them building comb across frames and things like that. So just wanted to note that. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look at what we got going here. So I'm just doing a visual inspection. I see that the outer 2 frames here don't look like they have anything on them. So I'm going to look at the second one in and just take a peek and see if that is true. And it looks to be true. And a quick look at the one on the wall, same story. So we're going to let those be, and we'll start with the 3rd frame in and see how that's doing. And again, so far bees are being pretty friendly. Okay, a little bit of weight, not much, but here we can see. So we do have, you can see we have some comb being built. So they're working on the 3rd frame from the wall, nothing on the inside edge. Go ahead and put this back in, and we finally got the attention of a guard bee. They're starting to buzz. So now let's look at the 4th frame in. So far I've been able to pull these out pretty easily with my hand without a tool. Okay, this definitely has a lot of weight. Well, I guess it was stuck. A little more weight. Okay. So now we can really see what the bees are doing here. So they have built comb all the way down the frame. This is looks like it's mostly brood here. Don't see our queen on here anywhere. I'm looking for some eggs in there. It actually looks like there are some eggs. There's a tiny little bit of honey at the top. And then here's what they're doing on the other side. Not much yet. And then just a tiny little bit of damage as I pulled up the frame, because they're building away from the foundation. You can see that this is a little flexible. So they do that. I don't know if that's all bees or just mine, but mine do that across the entire apiary. I don't know if that's a what the deal is there. It seems to be on 10 frame and 9 frame configuration, but it can cause a little issue when you pull frames out. So let's put this one back in. Or actually, just to give us some extra space, I'm just going to set this down here. Okay, so now we're getting to the middle. So we're now 5th frame in, so this is the center. Here we go. Let's see what's happening here. So I think I reset this frame last time. I moved one of the ones. Oh, this is interesting. I thought I saw a bee with a little K-wing on it. Maybe it was just cooling though. I don't see it again. K-wings when one of its top wings sticks out to the side. That's actually a virus, so you want to watch out for that. Let's see it again. That's why you inspect. So they're doing a little bit of comb here, not much. Let's see what's on the other side. Not much. I don't see the queen on here. And now I'm just a little extra sensitive to be looking for that K-wing. I don't see any more of it. It was probably just a bee thinging in. So, alright. I'm going to put this back in. So the next frame here was one that we used to seed the hive with. So that's where the initial brood came from. So this one's actually got some propolis. They're sealing this one up pretty good, so I'm just going to break that loose. Get the rest of these while we're here. Yeah, oh, I remember what I did. Yeah, I moved some of these regular deep frames to the couple spaces to the outside to try to get them to start building in the middle more. That's why that last frame was a little empty. But let's see what this looks like. This is an actual deep frame. Doesn't have the bottom part. It's not a mega frame. Let's see how the bees responded to this configuration. And I can just tell you right now, this is very heavy. So they must have, wow, must have honey on this. Let's see what's going on. Oh wow. Okay. Taking a quick peek for the queen. She's on here. See if you can see her. See her? She's right there next to the honey in that group, little white dot. My terrible marking job. That's Medusa. But look what they've done. They've actually built comb below this frame. So they're mirroring the Mega Hive setup. So we can watch Medusa do her work, looking around. Great looking queen. Terrible marking job by the beekeeper, but what a good looking queen. And then you can see on this side, again, really nice. Lots of honey in there, brood all over the place. Really neat to see them build the frame down. Looks kind of like a natural kind of hive setup. And there's Medusa up there doing her thing. You can follow her around a little bit. Alright. So that's great. So that's a really good sign. We will carefully get Medusa back into her home. And that might be why the bees are getting just a little more agitated. They're not too bad. Again, I'm not smoking or anything here, so pretty good. So let's see if this frame is a normal frame. So knowing that Medusa is over there, looks like we have the bees kind of linking up there. knowing that Medusa's over there, this is a frame. Let me check the other side. Oh wow. So it looks like a lot of larvae in here. Some honey, broods emerging. Not too bad. Not a great brood pattern, but you know, hey, they're making good progress. But since I know our queen is over on the other frame, and I want to start getting them to build these deeper mega frames, I'm going to take this and put this in the queen excluded box, and we'll let these bees do their business. But yeah, so we'll replace one of these blank frames. We'll do that right now. Okay. And since we have this one we've pulled out, we're mixing these up just a little bit too much here, but I'm going to go ahead and put this one back in here. And let them go back to town on that. And let's see what's happening with this other, the last of the regular deep frames that we know the queen's not on. And oh my, so heavy. Okay. So they are putting nectar in here. Wow. Okay. So this is definitely a food frame on this side. I don't see any brood in here at all. It's all nectar. It's starting to get that look where they're about ready to cap it. Check the other side. Oh, same thing. Make sure there's no brood. No, doesn't look like there's any brood on this side. So this is another great frame to switch to the upper box. So we're going to do that. Just double checking that Medusa wasn't super fast and ran over to this, but doesn't look like it. Okay. Messing with the bees' food, they get a little more ornery. Okay, and I can just see from visual inspection looking in that there's not much happening on this one, but they have started. So, little ant. Little red ant, we don't want that. Alright. So I'll let you look. Nothing on the outside, but they have started building a little comb. So I'm going to slide this one in. And so my goal has been to slowly work those regular frames out. So we were able to take two out. We're leaving one in because they've built a lot of comb underneath it, and that's just fine. And now we will go ahead and put these new ones in here as replacements. And I'm just going to call this a success. The only thing I'm going to check, I'll check the video, and I want to look a little more closely at the wings of some of those bees. I did notice one that looked kind of like K-wing. That's a virus. I'll have to research how to treat that. I think it comes from Varroa. The other thing I'm going to do is we're about ready to start treating for Varroa. So it's probably time to think about doing a sugar shake. The other thing is I'll take some stills from the video and I'll run that through that bee scanning app and see if there's anything obvious that pops out. But just a note, I wouldn't wholly rely on that. You still need to probably do your regular sugar shakes, or if you use, alcohol to do your test, whatever process you go through. So, but overall, visual inspection wise, this hive is looking really, really good, considering it was absolutely tiny to start with. It was a walk-away split, and they've just really come around. They look like they're doing something fun here in terms of building themselves a home. Nice core of comb in the middle, slowly building out. We'll let them continue to do that. They're running out of time because we are getting towards mid-September here. But who knows? Sometimes in Kansas we don't get the really, really cold weather till, you know, January, February. You know, there's been a few years we haven't even gotten any snow until the new year. So it seems like global warming is actually affecting Kansas weather a little bit. But they'll need to be ready when it does get cold in January and February, because we get some pretty brutal cold spells. So anyway, so far so good. I'm really happy with where things look today. So we're going to put the excluder back on, put the super on, put the inner cover on. We'll reset our feed. I have some new inner feeders we're going to use, and then we'll cover it all up there. And I think we'll call it good for the day here. So I'm pretty excited. Things are looking great. Thanks for looking at this with me. Hope this inspires you to try something new. Anyway, and I'll just leave the video going here. You can watch as we finish up. Oh, and by the way, if you have any comments or feedback on what I'm doing, by all means, be glad to hear it. I'm always looking for feedback, even if it's super critical. Alright, we got our queen excluded super on. Well, that's good. Now we'll just do our cover. And I'm leaving the entrance hole in the front. Had that position for a while. How you going over there? No problem. Alright, so let's actually show you what we're doing with the feeder on top. This is new. This could be a debacle, actually. So first time I'm using these 2-gallon square feeders from, I think they're from Little Giant. So this is what we got. We got a 2-gallon bucket. It's got a lid with holes in it. It's supposed to seal. What I noticed about these Little Giant buckets is there's no like rubber seal in the lid. And I did test them with water to see if they leaked, and they didn't. But I just had this fear that these leak all into the hive. You know, that would be a bad thing. So I'm just going to step aside here and tip it over to let anything drain out for a second. Make sure it doesn't pop off. We'll cover this up with the bees. Alright, so I'm just, again, I'm checking the seals here. Boy, the last thing we would need is for this to just ooze out into the hive. So because we're in late September, we're moving from a 1-to-1 sugar to water ratio to a 2-to-1 sugar to water ratio. This is kind of somewhere in between. The next batch will definitely be 2-to-1. And this will last a while, so this saves you a lot of time in terms of having to do this, which is why I'm switching. Notice the messiness of this. This actually had some corn syrup mixed in it. That's why it has this color to it. And I'm moving away from that. I think that's a bad idea. But you can see these just get really messy. You got to fill them all the time. It's a lot of work. So I think this will save some effort, again, if it doesn't leak. So, and because you're putting it inside a deep box covered, the chance of fermentation goes down a bit. It'll still ferment if you leave it too long, but it helps. All right, looks like they're good. Not leaking. Still some fighting going on. of our pet pig Mabel. Surprisingly doesn't like it. Activity today. That's a big old prop plane, military plane. I don't know what they're training for. Alright. And we're in Kansas. Yeah, today is an extraordinarily calm day, but wind can come up at any time, so we do use these straps for most of the hives. Looks like I got it twisted here. So, just to make sure. Yeah, we don't get a big gust and end up with a bunch of bees on the ground. That would be bad. Pick some of these up at Harbor Freight, Menards, wherever they're cheap. They work great. Alright. Looks good. Alright, we'll just put the, also we'll do the feeder at the entrance here. We just keep doing mason jars on that. That's a lot easier since they're on the outside. But boy, they'll be super well fed, so these bees, should be fine. You know, one concern with using that much feed is just that you want to look to make sure that the queen has space to lay. And if you notice from the observation, there was a lot of open honeycomb where Medusa could go in and lay eggs. So if you were seeing all that filled, every inch of it, with nectar, then you would want to ease off the sugar syrup. Because then she'll have no space to lay, and that's bad news. So, and right now we're in kind of our last hurrah for pollen with the sunflowers blooming here in Kansas. But in a couple weeks that'll be over, and they won't be able to get any more pollen. And pollen's kind of a key ingredient for bees to be able to build comb. So, pretty critical there. So, anyway, again, last thing to do here is just replace the feeder on the. Or fill the feeder on the outside. So we're good. So thanks again for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, looking for any feedback at all. I know there's a lot of beekeepers out there, and I'd be glad to get your advice. I'm new to this, so thanks a bunch. See ya. Thanks again. Hey, on behalf of myself and the bees here, we just want to say thanks for watching our videos. If you have a chance, please click subscribe. Also, if you have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see, go ahead and put it in the comments section. Thanks again.